Hey guys, you ever heard that saying, you can use anything that I have except for my wife and my axe? It's for reasons like this. Yeah, I let my brother use my Brooks American felling axe, and I got to get a new handle on it. How am I going to do that? That's crazy, huh? Yeah, I could do it on my own. I actually got a little edge work that I got to do to it. But today, let's talk about axes, guys. So, if you watch back and see some of my videos, I've told you about me moving to Montana and being up here in the country where it's really cold. I think I've almost been to every state in the United States, except for the Dakotas. I gotta get to the Dakotas, right? No matter where you are, except for maybe Florida, you gotta have firewood at some point in time to keep you warm, right? If there's no normal services, so there's no gas, no electric, you gotta have firewood. Firewood's a really important thing. You'll even have to have it in the summertime in a shtf situation or an EMP situation, because you gotta cook with it, right? So, I've told you before, I'll tell you again, my buddy Josh at Wyoming Axe Works, you can look him up on Instagram or Facebook, answers all your questions. What he does for me is he takes old axes and he rebuilds them, okay? So let me just give you a couple of different axes that I have that I've been collecting. I didn't buy all these at once, I've bought them over the years, I think over the last 2 years with him, and I've been buying them on purpose. I buy them as user axes even though they're old, and I buy them with the purpose that someday I believe I'm gonna have to process all of my own firewood, and I'm not gonna be able to call somebody to deliver it to me. I'm not gonna be able to get gas, and I'm gonna have to do it all by myself, okay? Whether that be backpacking or at home. This was the very first axe that I bought from Josh. It's a double bit. I believe it is a true temper. He did a custom sheath on it, like a firefighter sheath. It's a longer axe, and I did this one basically as another American felling axe. This is the one that he cut himself on, so if you ever look at his fingers, this is that axe that he sliced it on, so it's really, really sharp. It is a longer axe, okay? Now, I don't know, I mean, I've told you in a couple other videos, I'm sure you're probably tired of hearing me. This Wetterling's hatchet right here is the saw. It's a 20-inch. I hit myself in the knee with this once, splitting firewood. Now, it was 100% my fault, but what that does is it always gives you this brain jack up that you think you're gonna hit yourself again, so I'm always extra careful with axes, especially long ones, doing work down by my feet. So I got this one as a double blade, double bit option, so you can have one that's sharp and you can do a lot of work with this axe. Now, I also added to the form with him this small double bit axe, and it is a true temper, Kelly Works. He does the axe sheaths for them. He brings them in and they're very sharp. And he builds the custom axe handles. So what's kind of cool is these axe handles are more octagon. They're actually easier to hold. I've used this one quite a bit. I really like this axe, especially when I'm doing short stuff down by my legs, because you can see the difference in height on both of these, right? So I feel like I control this one a little better than I control this one. And so this one ends up being one of my most favorite axes that I have. Then I have this very large splitting axe. You can tell as he goes, he's getting better on all of his leather. This is one of the newer ones I've got from him. I still have the tape on it because I haven't used it yet. I just got it not long ago. It does have the squared handle on it. He custom makes the handles, and it is a big, like 4.5 pound true temper, Kelly Works, old, like, I don't know, it's a 5 pound, I guess. It says number 5 on the back. This is a heavy beast, and it's for being able to split wood. It's a good splitting axe, all right? So I chose that one for splitting. Now, it's not a splitting maul. What's next on my list is a splitting maul, but like you guys, I don't have all the money in the world, so I gotta go just a little at a time till I can get what I want, right? This was my very first one before I bought any axes from Justin at all. I bought this Brooks American felling axe. Actually, this was my first one because of Dave Canterbury, but I got this one and I like this axe a lot. Again, it's very long, so when I'm doing work that's on the ground, I'm always worried about hitting myself with it. I haven't hit myself with it ever. Like I said, this was an accident, but in your brain, it's hard to get over it. My brother did bust the handle. I'm sending this one to Josh. He's gonna put me a brand new handle on it, and he's gonna build me one of his newer, cooler leather work sheaths for it. Matter of fact, I bet you this one would work for it, wouldn't it? Yep. So I'm gonna get a cool fancy sheath on it, and then I'm also gonna get a piece of leather here. Now, I don't know how long he's been doing that, but the last axe that I got from him, he did it for me. I love it. I'm actually gonna have him do it on all of my axes just because it offers that extra protection on it in case somebody hits it. Because in in the situation where you're living off of these, they're gonna be vital to your survival, okay? So, I've also had him build me the Pileski axe, okay? And I don't know if that's exactly how you pronounce it, Pileski, whatever. And it's a Kelly. This is a fairly new one too. He did these other two for me just at the same time. This is what firefighters use, and they dig with it like a pickaxe in order to dig up an area for like a burn. So, you get 20, 25 smoke jumpers out there. They're all tilling up their area, 3 foot wide, and all of a sudden you did the work of a tractor. Although that tractor could do it in like 10 minutes. But this is more of a fire control axe around my house, a yard working tool. That's why I got it. If I need to dig a trench, need to dig an area out that can't burn, this is what I would use this for. This is probably not one that I would recommend that you get. This was just kind of cool to have, and he had one. Okay, I'm working on trying to get all of the processing tools that are possible to be able to process my own wood. This is my favorite axe that he built. He just built this one for me, but I've actually used this one quite a bit. And see, his leather work's getting a lot better. Good job, Josh. And he built the leather handguard on it for me here. And you can see that I was just messing around with it, and I've already hit it a couple of times trying to split wood that was too big to split with it. But this is a Union Kelly Works boys axe. This axe, for me, is the absolute perfect size for pretty much anything that you're ever gonna do, right? So I actually even like this boys axe more than I like this 20-inch axe because the head weight is very close to the same. This is lighter, but it's very close to the same. But this allows me to get a good hand grip on and do a lot of work, right? No doubt that a bigger axe is gonna do more work. And this one is almost perfectly portable for me. I'd have to be doing it on a specific job, not bugging out or something like that, but a specific job. If I could take one, I'm gonna take this boys axe with me. I absolutely love this thing. This is an old Forest King handle. It was brand new. It had a price tag on it for 99 cents. And I almost didn't use it. I almost thought, man, I'm gonna just keep this and just hide it away, and because it's so cool, like a collector's item. And then I thought, nah, it was made to use. I'll use it for the rest of my life, pass it down to grandchildren, hopefully. And anyway, if you could just have one, this is what I would pick. I did some big tree work with it. I did some splitting with it, and you can absolutely do it. It takes a long time, but you can get it done with it. Now, this was my very first jump into axes, was the Wetterling's small forest axe. This turned me on to custom axes in, I think, the year 2010. I got the idea from Dave Canterbury. I went out and bought one of these. I think they were 120 bucks at the time. Wetterling's is closed down. They went bankrupt because their CEO lady wasn't very good at what she did and changed the heat treating. But now Wetterling's is building heads for Gransfors Bruks, so you can get a Gransfors Bruks 20-inch and do really well with it. I am going to try to get my hands on some other ones. A couple of buddies of mine tell me that Council Tools professional axes are really good. Holtz Bruck axes are really good. I haven't had the ability to use any of those guys. I've just used Wetterling's, Gransfors, and then some of these old 1920s and 30s axes. And I chose the 1920s and 30s because since I'm a knife guy, I'm a steel guy. I always want the best steel. But I got this axe, and my brother had a cheap Lowe's axe that we had used for years. It was the size of a American felling axe. I actually think it might have been a Fisker's. It had the fiberglass handle on it, and he's out there hitting and hitting and hitting on this tree, I could do 3 times the work, 3 to 1 with this little axe than he could do with that big axe. And then, you know, I can do double the amount of work with this boy's axe that I can with this one. And so it's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like you were using, if you're a gun guy, it's like shooting a high point and then switching and shooting a Limcat custom or an SVI custom race gun. If you're a car guy, it's like driving a, I don't know, Subaru Forester and then getting in a NASCAR. It's just that much difference, right? They're just unbelievably how much faster they cut, how much easier they cut, and how much less they wear you out to cut when you choose one of these more professional axes, okay? So I've become a really big believer in it, and I really enjoy getting these older axes because I know they had great steel, they come from a great background, somebody worked with them, they got a lot of history behind them. But that doesn't mean that I wouldn't take the best axe or a council tool axe. The Revolting Man's working with an axe company. What the heck is that? North Point or something like that? And they're making some tomahawks and stuff from him, hand forging them. From what I've seen on his channel, that may be a really good axe option for you. I don't know. But there are a lot of options out there. You don't have to choose the way that I choose them and go through Josh. I like Josh. I think it's a good way to go. This is another one that's really comparable. This is why I like this one. It's comparable in size to this boy's axe, but it gives you, it's a little heavier and it gives you 2 blades, right? Okay. Sorry this video is going so long. My goal is to be able to say I have the tools that it takes to be able to process firewood in the event of a natural disaster, a man-made disaster, a war. In the event I have to keep my family warm and I don't have the normal rule of law. Now, I have a Swamp Fox knife and I have a Swamp Fox little belt hatchet or tomahawk. I really love the tomahawks. I did another video about this. You know, the tomahawk and the knife was really made for a fighting tool. It wasn't really made for a throwing tool, although I throw them well, they throw well. It's a good option. I like them. These do a lot more work than a tomahawk does, but tomahawks are great options. They're just not a good option for any type of long-term survival, in my opinion. They just don't have the brute strength that it takes to chop up enough firewood, process enough firewood to be able to effectively affect survival, right? I mean, you can just hit and hit and hit with these things and they don't work like that. Now, can you work for skinning stuff, or can you make kindling with this? Can you use it as a hammer? Yeah, it works great for that, but it's the intended use is not for you know, big amounts of work. So I also have this saw. This saw is a beast. It is a Agra, A-G-A-W-A Canyon. I think it's like 200 bucks or something like that for this saw. It's been our backpacking saw that we take in the mountains hunting with us. Take it backpacking for elk or whatever, what have you. This saw is an absolute beast. So the way you put it together is you bend it in half like this. You stick this thing in here. It makes a bow saw for you. Let's see, you just mash it all the way down like this. There we go. And this saw is a beast, man. You can do some work with this thing. It's light, it's backpackable, and you can really do some work with it. Highly recommend this saw. This saw, I actually got a bunch of extra blades for it that I keep inside of here so that if I'm dull, if I'm doing different kind of woodwork or bone work on animals or something, I have this saw to be able to do that. Now, I also have, I think I've told you, and I'll do a review of my steel chainsaws. I have the 661, I have a 261, a 271, I have a Husqvarna, because I did some tree work. I still do tree work. You know, if there's a storm, I go down and I help people out with some tree work. And so I still have those saws. I've got a lot of bars, chains, lube, spark plugs for those saws. I keep them maintained and I keep them running. But in a long-term situation, I would use those as absolutely sparingly as I had to. So if I had a big tree that I had to fell, I would fall that tree, and then I would try to use hand tools for everything else that I was doing. Maybe I would have to cut it up into little pieces, but the more you do that, the more you wear out chains, bars, more you use the lube, the gas. And so what happens is your resources just drop dramatically. So they're really nice to have, really important to have, but your resources drop off so hard with them as you use them if there's no resupply, right? So my goal is to be able to get all of the wood processing equipment that it takes to be able to do this by hand and be able to effectively process wood and have it all ready for me and my family in the event of a grid situation, a panic situation where we can't go and there is nobody resupplying us, okay? I'm not there yet. I'm probably a lot further than you if you're watching this, but I'm not there yet. So I recommend you research. There's a lot of great axe stuff. We'll do some videos with these where I can show you, maybe we can go over here and work some tree stuff and show you how well they chop, show you how well they work and how sharp they are, show you how good this saw is. We could probably do that as the months go by here, and anything new that I get as well. I'm constantly looking for new stuff because, while I doubt that I'll ever let anybody swing my boy's axe because I absolutely love it, I might buy another boy's axe or two for other people that might be in your camp with you, or in case you break this one and you need another one, or, two is one and one is none, right? In case you break it or lose it or somebody steals it from you, you never know, you got options, but this one's my favorite. So I also don't have the correct sawing equipment. This works well. This works well for sawing smaller woods. It will cut very big wood, but it will wear you out when you do it. I've got to find better options for hand saws. Right now I've been watching Canadian Prepper. I'm really thinking about the silky saws. I haven't got any yet. All of this can nickel and dime you to death. A couple $100 here, a couple $100 there. You can only go as much as you have. You just got, consistent forward motion. So if you have a silky saw, let me know what you think about it, because I think that's next on my list. If you have any of these other axes, chime in, let us know, talk about it. I'm not a lover of any one axe. I'm just a lover of great axes and great older tools, hand tools to get you through this stuff. And this is probably the only time I recommend older tools. A lot of people in the prepared world are saying, oh, I'm going to get these old drills and these old hand tools. Because I built houses, I've done a lot of carpentry work, I've done a lot of outside work in my life. Woodwork is what I'm the handiest with. I'm pretty good with metal, but woodwork is what I know the best. I know that in most situations, you're probably not going to need that, right? Cordless drills will still work. You'll still be able to, effectively charge them through maybe solar power, maybe battery banks. There's lots of ways to be able to charge your equipment and still be able to use it. And the truth is, in a grid down situation like that, I don't really need a bunch of hand tools that are old-timey 1800 hand tools, because I think that I'm going to go out and build new houses or something. It's not going to be like that. So if you have them, are they nice to have? Sure. But the only old tools that I really into buying are old axes and stuff like this, and they don't even have to be old. Some of these new companies that are making great axes, you can absolutely take them and get them. The old ones are a second kind of cool. If you have those tools and that's a hobby of yours and you want to learn how to use them and do stuff in the old days, that's cool too. But anyway, that's kind of getting off on a rabbit trail. Anyway, guys, this is what I have. I don't have it all. I don't have, I have some, but I don't have it all. I think I have enough now that I could make it, but I would like to make it a little easier, and I'd like to make more people doing it. So anyway, this is just the start of it. I'm going to continue on because what I've learned is wood will keep you alive. Keeping yourself warm and keeping yourself fed, cooked, boiling water, so on and so forth. Wood is a big, big deal, and you got to be able to process it. And I promise you, in the event I'm hungry, I'm going to be glad that I spent, I don't know, $1,000 on axes. I'll be more glad than spending $1,000 on this pistol, right? It's just the truth. I may never use this pistol, and I'll use this axe every day. So you got to think about it. One really big portion of any kind of situation, I believe it all goes down to grid coming down, regardless of whatever it is. Flu pandemic, pole shift, EMP, it doesn't matter. Economic collapse. Grid's going to collapse. You're going to have to be out making firewood and keeping your family warm, keeping them fed, keeping water in them so you can boil water. You're not going to have the local gas station. Your propane tanks are going to run out. Your charcoal grills are going to run out. You're going to have to use wood. Well, what are you going to use that wood? Anyway, guys, ponder on it.